There's something in the Bible about the last days when the dead would rise from the grave. Judgment Day. Judgment Day.
The whole building is a huge superconductive antenna that was designed and built expressly for the purpose of pulling in and concentrating spiritual turbulence.
Something terrible is about to enter our world, and this building is obviously the door. They conducted rituals up on the roof. Bizarre rituals intended to bring about the end of the world, and now it looks like it may actually happen.
This city is headed for a disaster of biblical proportion. What he means is Old Testament, Mr. Mayor. Real wrath of God type stuff. Exactly. Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling.
40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes, the dead rising from the grave.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of This Just In, the new show where me and my awesome brother in Christ here, Franz and I, we bring you the new and updated whatever's going on in the world or whatever's on our mind. This is kind of like a freestyle and an audience participation kind of thing, so glad for you, those of you who will show up and make it, and I'll just take this time to welcome back my good friend Franz. Welcome back, Franz.
Thank you. It's good to be back. This is our second?
Yeah.
This just in, right?
Yeah.
And why don't you told me it's the anniversary of us doing shows and working
this
together on
is actually
projects.
it landed right on the day. This is exactly today, May 22nd, is exactly 2 years since the first live show we did together.
I just had our voices, our live show because we.
Oh yeah, because I didn't know how to work live yet. I thought you could just click it and do it. yeah. Boy, definitely.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been 2 years. How awesome is that, right?
Yeah, man, it's gone by quick, really.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
all glory to God.
Amen to that.
So yeah, this just in, and I took a break from lifting the veil. That'll be the opposite week, but yeah, let's jump right in. I got a few things I'll talk about. Jay said he has a few things, so maybe we'll pass it back and forth, or I'll go through my few things and then let him go.
Yeah, and then if we got anybody in the chat who wants to who's seen something or wants to us to look at something, we'll open it up and check it out.
Absolutely. If there's a news, we have some viewers that are not even in our country, so we have good variety of people. So if you see news that we don't get from in our country, yes, please jump in, throw it in, let us see it. We'll look it up and we'll discuss it.
So I'll just throw out a hey Chris and Hokaponopono. Good to see you guys. Thank you for joining us tonight.
I'm assuming by the Aloha that's a Hawaii viewer.
Yeah, I think so.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I put a few of the articles I want. Oh, this is my first thing I wanted to talk about. I
forgot about this.
Yeah. So Jay released the 23 video recently, which actually is doing pretty good, huh? It's got almost a couple thousand views.
Yeah, it's getting up there. It's getting some. I'm glad people are seeing it, man. I put a lot of work into it, so it's good to see that people are receiving it.
Yeah, so the other morning, the morning after Jay released it, I was watching it on my way to work, and I vaguely remembered hearing something about it in Hollywood. So they had their pop-up, and I sent this to Jay. So just an add-on real quick to his 23 and the McDonald's part of the 23 video. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it. But I found it super interesting. It's 85 in the street address.
Oh yeah, there's your 58.
Yeah. And then you got 969. And the phone number.
Wow, the West Hollywood's zip code is 666, dude.
Yep.
That's crazy.
You can't make that up.
No.
So their phone number, if you want to call McDonald's in Hollywood, is 323-999-9999.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
So you got your 23 and your 32 from your video, and just 666.
Yeah, and 3 times 2 is 6, times 3 is 18. That's 666.
666.
That's nuts, man.
Yep.
Wow.
I mean,
I hope people
chuckled.
out there understand that they should never eat at that place. I don't care if you're starving to death.
Yeah, and I've had people, I got them to think by saying, all right, during lockdowns, you could shop and you had your one ways up and down the aisles. You could only walk one ways. Each family could only get one beef, one chicken. But yet you can go to any brick building with this archway and get as many McDoubles as you wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, they never had closed.
Nope, and they never had a limit. So,
And
what
don't
do
you
they have
find
up
it
there?
interesting also that you notice how their sign has always said 99 billion served?
99 billion, yep.
Right? There's your 9/11, but it never changes. Like you'd think they want it to go to like, 150. Look how great we are, but no, 99 billion. That's it.
Yep. We
Nope.
reached 99 billion. We stopped counting just because that's it, right?
Yeah.
We haven't served 14 trillion,
Yeah.
and it blows my mind how many people just love it,
Yeah.
eat it up.
Yeah, and it's, man, when I was doing that comic, and I'm thinking this stuff is made for the kids, man. Like, this is like witchcraft.
It really is.
Straight witchcraft, bro.
I remember being a kid and visiting my father, and it was a big deal to get McDonald's or Burger King or go through the drive-thru and get the kids' meal and the toy you'd get with it. And I remember obsessing over getting every single Muppet Baby character from the Muppet
I remember
show.
the Muppet Baby.
Kermit was like on a tricycle. I mean, I distinctively have huge memories of it, and it's like,
Yeah, there's a
Wow.
store down by my house. It's called Bee's Treasures. And it's like a flea market store. And they sell like gallon bags full of like McDonald's toys, dude.
of the old McDonald's
Yeah.
toys. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bee's Treasures. I want to say they were in my town for a little while.
Probably, I know they have other stores.
Yeah, but it's just like a secondhand flea market store,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, it is. It is crazy, and it's like, what's the biggest distributor of toys? That window, McDonald's. I see a comment in here talking about X-Files, and they did do a episode.
Yeah, I want
I
to see
vaguely
that.
remember it. I want to go back and look at it too, but that comment is hitting the nail on the head. That's exactly.
That's what I was
That's
trying to. I'm not sure if I said it, but that's what I was like trying to imply in the video. I'm like,
It is. It's a hard implication because if
Yeah.
you don't have ever even caught a whiff of a hint of it, you wouldn't know what to think when you're trying to. But it's.
yeah,
Anyways, so let's move on.
yeah.
I got a couple of the last few weeks, and then a couple of the last few months. But this one stuck out to me because I had a memory of another news in the past, and I'll show you why, and I just realized looking at this, there's an advertisement. You
That's
see
what
it?
I was looking at. Yeah, I was
I
like,
didn't even realize it. Just I ignore the pop-ups that pop up when I'm trying to do this, and I just realized it says Summer 666.
Yeah.
Wow, 999. I'm sorry, but so in the last few weeks, New York and Dublin, they closed their portals after a week of inappropriate behavior. 3.6 shares.
Yeah.
You can't make this up. Anyway, so it's just a circle, and it looks like a portal, and there's one in New York City, and then there's one in Dublin, in main squares. And people in New York can stand in the portal and see people in Dublin standing in that same exact thing. Basically connecting live videos. And it mocks something from the 19th century, the early 1800s, but we'll get to there. They threw it on mainstream news because they had to shut it down because people were being inappropriate, and people were taking their cell phones in Dublin and taunting New Yorkers with footage of the World Trade Center, the event.
Oh, really?
Yes, so they're being, they're taunting and laughing about it.
I heard about some flashing going on, but that was about it.
So they were mooning and flipping. It progressed with, let's put my phone up here and you can see the video and laughing, and so I think one of them folded the $20 bill, and then it just turned into derogatory. So that was horrible. People are not getting along. We need to shut it down. But this is nothing new under the sun. Nothing is. This portal wasn't some new idea or something cute they wanted to play with. I believe it was physical distraction if you happen to be in Dublin or York, and then just cover up news, I guess, because and it's funny that it's the monitor, the name, it's called the Christian Science Monitor. And this article is from 2008.
Christian Science. I mean, that'll throw you for a loop right there, man. I'll be thinking about that one for days.
What is that called? An oxymoron?
Yeah. How does that work?
It's like Big Bang Jesus.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
So
Crazy.
this thing you're looking at here is exactly the same thing, just not like cool technology. This was back in 2008, right? And this article is about this Christian artist who was in his grandmother or great-grandmother's attic and found remnants of them doing this. This actually is a tube that goes all the way to London from New York. So they stand in the circle like a portal. You see right in here. It's literally, they call it the telescope. They can do the same thing and look at each other. But this telescope actually goes all the way under.
What?
Yeah. So that is why this article stuck out to me then, because it didn't make sense. You're right next to the Brooklyn Bridge. You go into the Hudson River and across the Atlantic, and then the other end of this telescope comes out in London.
See, does that make sense to you?
No, because how could you get in this tunnel and adjust all these mirrors it would take, because a telescope or like a periscope, it's all the same mirror reflections.
Right. This is like Lying Signs and Wonders, man. This is like demonic black magic.
So they're saying it's a fiber optic imagination and telescope.
That's
it's
crazy,
a Victorian era dream that was reborn. So they did it in the Victorian era. So how did they do it in the 1800s? And how did they do it in 2008?
And think of this, man. Okay, like I'm one of those people who don't believe in the transatlantic cable. You know, I don't believe there's a cable that goes under the ocean from here to there. I've never bought into that, right? Because they've had this technology, but they didn't want to share that they have the prince of the power of the air and that they send things through the ether. See, they didn't want to share that with us. So they told us that they brought this huge cable and put it on the ocean floor. Dude.
And this thing was only up for like a month.
Yeah, so that's what they're doing with this, and look how big that thing is.
Look how big it is. So it's as big as that portal I just showed you in the last article. You can see the people in Dublin standing here, and it's probably bigger. We got a side view because it literally is on that angle and goes right into the river.
Right, but it's bigger than the people.
It is bigger, yeah. And you can stand in this glass. So it sat there. It went all the way under and had all this mirror and reflection technology as a telescope. And then it was time to tear down this artistic piece. So where did it go? And it was such a huge project to do this. How come everybody didn't hear about it?
Right, and you put all that work into doing it and then just tear it down? Sounds like a World's Fair, right?
It's a World's Fair, exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And they portray it as this artist found a Victorian era dream of his grandmother's, and all of a sudden he wanted to put in his life savings to do this? Like, what?
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know? And now here we're doing it again, but we can't do it for too long. Those Dubliners start picking on us for what happened 20-something years ago.
Right, so this is the symbolism, man. They opened a portal and then shut it.
And then you go and stand in it. You know, you're literally, You think you're just playing with some technology and looking at the people from Dublin or London live, and it's an interaction. Who knows what you're really interacting with? Yeah, this could be the image, and that could be exactly what's going on there, but a lot of in between.
Yeah, and see, I was just looking at that picture too. If the picture wasn't there and the rock kept going, like the frame went into the center, there would be a big X going through it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's because you got the four pieces.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're just seams, but you're right. That's absolutely an X.
Yeah. Wow, I was like, what the heck? We all got cell phones, man. We got Zoom. What do you need? What is this for? You know?
I know. So, I mean, in 2008, you could have done that too, but they portrayed this going completely under, and then this is just a Wi-Fi portal, must be.
Yeah. With like a TV screen in it. So weird.
Just super weird. And of course, you know, people can't get along. So let's go to this one. This one stuck out to me as well because I have mentioned this many a times, and Cargill is another very powerful, rich family that is not discussed a lot. And talking about meat from brick buildings and taking it from their window in grocery stores. They're the number one importers, I would say. A lot of real meat comes from Brazil. The biggest meat manufacturers or production is in Brazil. But this one, it's from a site called foodnavigator.com. And this is Europe. From meat to 3D printed plants. Why Cargill is diversifying its protein investments. So this article goes on to say that they're taking bio plant material and bio 3D printing tuna.
Yikes. Plant-based tuna.
You'd be surprised how many fillers for real meat is plant-based. And
how demonic.
when they say plant-based, you're probably thinking like that cute green leaf or a vegetable. I'm more talking about bark and roots.
Poison ivy.
Poison ivy. Yeah. Hogweed. I don't know if you know what hogweed is, but it's kind of like a tumbleweed, but it's a tall, tiny flower. And if you come in contact with it in the sunlight, once it touches your skin, it creates a reaction with your skin and sunlight where you get sunburned. Not meaning like lobster, ow, don't touch me. I mean like 3rd-degree burns. It turns your sunburn into a 3rd-degree burn. So these plants are being used in a lot of foods. But now they're using, biomaterials to print your meat.
And this puts a whole new spin on bioengineered. Like,
absolutely.
Bioengineered means that they've affected your food in some kind of way with CRISPR. They've changed the genetics of the plant.
And it's not a natural
sort of way, right? It's unnatural. Right. And now with this is just, they can put whatever they want in there. Right? Like, oh, we'll have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Snips and snails, a puppy dog tail,
Absolutely correct. So Cargill is the biggest agricultural powerhouse. So they do a lot with agricultural industry. So they control that, including fertilizers and stuff like that. So if they have a lab to print 3D print with plant matter or plant material, we're naturally going to think they're growing something at a farm. Let's scratch that idea, because it's like huge, like Jay just said. It's CRISPR. They took pieces and bits of that and then used chemicals and their CRISPR to grow or make plant material that can be then produced into a bio 3D printable material. And then they can add whatever kind of flavoring they want and call it tuna. Put it in a can. Put a little lemon and parsley on it.
Ugh. That's so gross.
You remember, not too long ago, within the last year, Subway, they did a, DNA test on the meat, on the tuna, and found out it wasn't tuna at all.
Oh, yeah.
So it just makes you wonder. So now they're saying on March 6, 2024, that we're diversifying our protein investments. They're just, pretty much declassifying the fact that you're not eating a meat or a plant.
Dude, I eat mostly chicken and turkey. I don't eat a lot of beef, and I don't eat any pork. But I'll tell you what, man. Lately, I've been so skeptical about eating chicken. When I buy it, it looks... I don't know if it's my head that's doing it. But it looks funny to me. It looks weird. I'm like, I don't remember chicken looking like this. And when I'm in the grocery store... I'm pretty boisterous when I'm in the grocery store. I'll be like, oh, this food's fake. What the heck? And I'll be walking around, I'll be like, this ain't chicken. Just trying to wake people up. Look at this stuff. This isn't even food anymore. It's like you go get organic bananas and there's no seeds in them. How are you going to get a banana out of a jungle, call it organic, with no seeds in it? That's fake. That's a fake banana. I don't know how you make a fake banana, but they've made fake bananas.
Well, and people don't get this fact either, that like, oh, Florida oranges, vitamin C, that's the most natural vitamin C you can get. But do you really think what we know as a navel orange or a sweet orange is a naturally occurring fruit that man-made didn't have? Take some of this and some of that and make your Florida orange? Because that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And that was hundreds of years ago. What are they doing now? What do you, you know? And it's funny you said that, because I do the same thing at the grocery store. You know, I do eat some red meats. I tend to, maybe do pork once or twice a month. But when I am going through the red meats, I'm like, look at the meat glue. $30 for meat glue steak.
Yeah.
I do the same thing you do.
Yeah. It's
People look
awful,
at me
man.
like, it
Yeah,
is.
they look at you like you're crazy, and you look back at them like they're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can look at me like I'm crazy all you want, but you're eating it.
And when you start doing those like harmless things or looking at it that way, and you see other people reacting to you or looking at these things that you obviously see as something's up about it, that they love eating it. They love, I like that part of the Matrix where the guy sold his friends out and his soul to go back.
Oh, and he's eating the steak? Yeah.
He's eating that fake steak going, ignorance is so people choose that. They literally do.
Yeah.
You don't want to hear it.
No, they don't, man. I'm glad, like, this guy just opened a deli down by my house, so now I can go down there and buy chicken.
Yeah, and I have a good friend that he grew up on a farm, and he was raised on farm meat. And back in the day, farmed beef, you could eat ground beef raw, little amounts of it. I wouldn't dare do that now, and they said,
Yeah.
you remember, like, it was a thing. I remember being babysat by a farmer, and all the little kids were waiting in line to get a little marble-sized ground beef. The grandma of the farm was being the butcher, and these were normal, okay things, and it was, I can't even describe the taste. Don't taste anything like it, but yeah.
Let's read a couple comments.
We got some comments in here.
Yeah, I just want to read a couple comments, just because there's some they're taking part in our conversation.
Absolutely.
So Hogoponopono says, you can tell the rotten fruits and vegetables as the skin or rind has hardened prematurely. It's different than it's been for 60 years that I knew my skins and peelings. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That
is true. That goes along with the bananas.
Right.
Like the seed. Yeah.
Yeah, he's saying that's as funny as the papaya testing positive for Vidco.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then not just papayas, but other random plants.
Yeah, water was. But that's because they were using that PCR test at 40 cycles, which the guy who made it said, dude, air will test, everything will at that rate, at that testing cycle. And so that was, they just wanted, that was the fear campaign. Lab grown chicken, yep, that's disgusting. No seeds in my fruit stand apples. That's not good. No, that is not good. Oh,
no, it's not.
And then Chris talks about what you did a show on this, actually, what Chris is saying. I think it's a component to turn the frogs gay.
And that's true. Yes, yeah. Absolutely, 100%. And that's that chemical in the water, it has been going on for multiple decades. Not 1 decade or 2 decades, digits, multiple decades. Your grandparents were being exposed to those chemicals.
Yeah, and look at what's happening in the world.
Yeah, and you don't think it is? I mean, it was first pumped to projects, inner city projects. I'm not saying. Look at the certain amount of people that lived inside us inner city projects, and how many of them compared to people who live on farmland?
Yeah.
It's not just because it's populated in the city or they all move there. It's literally like put in water supplies, period.
Well, that's what I tell people is those when you look at a city and you see all those things on top of the buildings that people call water tanks, those are chemical tanks.
Those are chemical tanks.
Yeah,
absolutely.
they're full of fluoride and all kinds of chemicals that go into the water in the building.
Chemical. Right. And so
Yeah.
I've visited many times to New York City and overhearing people in the hotels. These hotels have 40 floors, 50 floors, and you're up on 23. And I've heard multiple people that I don't know, just random passing, say, "Oh, we're high up on the floor. It's going to take a long time to get the hot water up to the shower."
Yeah.
But yet you think there's a water tank on the roof.
Right, and then
They acknowledge their own conundrum, and
Yeah. Yeah, and that movie gave it away, Dark Waters.
Yep.
Remember, there was a dead person which represented a spirit in the waters in that tank.
Oh, that's right.
It's all about possession, right? The water was possessing the building. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
They totally gave it
true.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People just got to believe it, that's all. Real chicken, oh yeah, real eggs, yeah, they are good. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Franz.
No, that's fine. It took me a second to realize what you meant, like how you can have your own chickens in your yard and have your own eggs.
Yeah, they're trying to ban that.
Which is funny because, not until about a year ago, because it just became so popular, and we have a Tractor Supply near us now that, you go to Tractor Supply 2 months ago and they're having advertisements, "Chicks are coming," and then a month later, "Chicks are here. Order your chicks. Get your chicks now." And it's like, why are they pushing it so hard? If they're pushing it, there's a reason.
Yeah.
But yet they taste better. So is there something genetically wrong? And where are they getting all these little chickens?
Yeah,
Think about
remember
how many
they
farms?
slaughtered like whole factories worth, like 5 billion chickens in a whack. They just killed them. They're like, "Oh, one tested positive for the vid code, so we're just gonna butcher all." They're all dead, and then they just burned them all.
Well, that's a government farm. If the government farm says, "You made the quota, destroy everything," you have to destroy everything. Livestock, what they produce.
Yeah,
what you get from it.
I remember seeing farmers pouring out like truckloads of milk.
Yeah.
Having to throw away all kinds of stuff.
So when they do that, because they've made their quota, how are they pumping thousands and thousands of these baby chickens? What facility is making these chickens? They're not hatched. I don't think it's a hatchery.
Yeah,
Not if I read articles like this. You got 3D printed plant-based tuna. There's got to be something in these chickens that people are like, "Yeah, I'm going to eat better eggs by raising my own." And then you're feeding them and you're fertilizing. It's like there's something to it.
I just envision this big machine coming on, like, boom, goes up, 2 little chicks like, cheep, cheep, cheep. It's just like mass printing these little live chickens.
It comes up.
Oh, man. Yeah. My grandchildren raise chickens. Yeah, I mean, it's a good idea. If you can grow your own vegetables and raise your own animals, that's the way to do it.
I'm not knocking it. I'm saying that is probably the only way you have more control over what the animal has eaten, has pooped itself, and then what you're putting in yourself, Even if you go to a butcher, the butcher or a meat supplier for smaller grocery stores, they're still getting whatever is in production in Brazil, paid for by companies like Cargill.
Yeah.
So, moving on.
Whoa, what is this?
This is the FDA finally rules that toxic taro flour, once used by daily harvest, is not safe to eat. It's not good for consumption. The finding, which comes 2 years after hundreds of people were sickened, could offer hope for a broken system that allows chemicals in our food.
Dude. 2 years after. They're like,
Yep.
well, it hasn't quite killed enough people yet. Just
That's
slow
exactly
down,
what it is.
slow down. Okay, you can take your time. We got time on this case.
So there's flours in our food in the United States that is illegal in other countries that they don't allow.
Yeah, if you like go on Google, man, and like you can find a whole list. Like there's so much food that other countries don't allow that is here in America.
The enriched,
Yeah.
bleached flour.
You can't even get this stuff over there.
You can't. Italy, you'll
Yeah.
you know, they won't give that. They don't have that. You have heirloom flour, right? So Italy still grows their next crop with seeds from the last crop. Great grandmothers that was growing wheat for flour 200 years ago. It's the same genetics in the flour. You,
Yeah, you can't do that here, man. Monsanto's done away with that.
yeah, and that's it, and that's, you know, it's, what's the point of this article then? This isn't poison, but this is. Let's talk about this one. 3D printed chicken? No. We're talking about this flour now. That was just a little bit of it got in here.
Yeah.
But eat this enriched, bleached flour and everything else.
Man.
Mm.
2 years. That's so crazy.
But if you read the FDA, on the FDA site, that they're still allowed to use a little bit of this. As long as they're mixing it with the enriched, bleached flour, you're okay.
Wow.
And still, on that same note, here we go. This is May 14th, 2024 at 8:18. It's a 6-minute read. 600 comments. I like to go back at these numbers because it's the article that gets me and I put it in there. But this is talking about how some states, they're doing the right thing for you because they're going to make it a crime to sell lab-grown meat.
Yeah, I mean, it should be.
Lab-grown meat isn't on grocery store shelves.
Oh yeah, it is.
It is. It should be a crime. And if
You're breaking up pretty bad, dude.
it was a true crime,
Can you hear me?
yeah.
You're breaking up pretty bad.
If am I?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything you just said about this article. I'm just letting you know. Like, it was like... That was it.
All right. How's it now?
That's pretty good, yeah.
No?
Yeah. No, you're good.
All right. All right. So this article just starts to talk about how some states are making it a crime to sell lab-grown meat, saying that it isn't in stores, it's not there yet, but states are already putting out laws to prevent it from happening.
Yeah.
But it already is.
Oh, it totally is. You can tell.
Yeah, I mean, if you look up, meat, where our meat supply comes from or anything about meat, and the first words you see are manufactured and production, it's not farmed. It's not raised. It's manufactured. It's production. So you have to use your imagination and figure what that means.
Yeah. Means it's gross.
Yeah.
Look at these people, man.
So then,
What kind of madness do you have to like be like, oh, this is a good idea. Well, I'm gonna just grow this meat in my petri dish. Like what? No, don't stop that. Like what are you doing?
well, and that's the commercialized. That's your cartoon. Like this is a hamburger patty, raw, lab grown into meat. They make it comical and cartoonish. But imagine a stainless steel vat the size of your house.
Ew.
And it's just filled with chemicals that are solidifying into this sludge that gets formed into what we know as ground beef or steak.
Remember pink slime?
That's exactly it. Yes. Where did the discussion of pink slime go?
Yeah. Boy, that came
Pink
and
slime.
went. Like, people were like, oh, yeah, they're putting it in the meat and da-da-da-da-da. It's like, yeah, that's exactly what this stuff was. But it wasn't perfected.
Yet. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was still, like,
And then
runny.
It's like putting a couple dessert bowls of Jell-O in the fridge and then coming back an hour later. Still a little liquidy.
Yeah. I'm eating that anyway.
So then these two articles stuck out to me here. The first one's Popular Mechanics. And the headline states that archaeologists found 23,000-year-old in America. So they got a fossilized footprint from
Just happens
23,000.
to be 23,000.
Yeah. And then this other one is physicists shrunk the future because they now can make a particle accelerator the size of a coin.
Oh. Well, that's great news.
Yeah, that way we can all have one eventually.
I got CERN in my pocket. Right? Like,
You got the whole world in your coin.
yeah, people will be opening portals all over the place, man.
Yeah, well, that was in that article actually, and I didn't get it to stick it in here, but they talk about how they successfully teleported quantum particles. They're able to teleport it from one physical location to another, and it was still the same particle. Like, yay!
My goodness.
And I don't know if you guys heard about Elon Musk.
No,
He's
but I'm
laying
glad
off
you're going to talk
10%
about
of-
these electric cars because I want to talk about this for a second when you're done.
I think this is about where I end. Yep. Yep, this is what's been probably most going on in the last few days. Tesla is laying off 10% of Tesla employees, and they're not giving, and they're walking in and using their badge, trying to fob into the door, and they can't get in.
I heard
So
about that.
just because of the dip in the demand of electric cars has gone down, so they're firing and laying off without warning 10%. And it's been a multi-day process. But if you get into robotic AI news and manufacturing in the Americas with AI and where it's going, it seems like he's the one that's making these affordable $20,000 human robotic task force, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, all these people helped him put all these robots together, and then they try to get in the next day, and they're like, Hey, what the heck?
And then they just
The robot's like, you
Exactly.
no longer work here. I took your job. Like, sweet. So glad I built you.
right?
They don't even consider this stuff.
How I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Pretty much, you know.
I was talking. Oh, go ahead.
His SpaceX is doing great, and the Bourne. Just saying, you know, he owns a lot more than just the electric car, the EVs. You know, he owns SpaceX, which is doing great. You know, and the Boring Company, which you would think would coincide with Tesla, because his whole main claim to the boring is to bore underground tunnels and transportation for the EVs.
Yeah.
But all right, go ahead.
Oh, so on electric
I'm
cars.
gonna stop sharing. I'll let you share if you want.
Yeah, well, and I'm just gonna talk about electric cars for a second. Well, I try to remember how to do it.
Yeah, please.
So I was working at this company, and the guy who I do a lot of work for, he had signed me up to do work for this business that he just sold, and they wanted office built and stuff. So I went in and built a couple walls and, you know, mudded, taped them, and painted them. And so while I'm there, there's like these two other guys working, and the guy who I usually work for, he just went to get some new electric vehicle, like a Ford Lightning or something, some truck, right? And so these guys are, they're like, oh, talking about, oh, he's going to get an electric vehicle, another electric vehicle, and I'm like, ugh. I was like, you'll never catch me doing that. And they're like, oh, you're gonna go drive around in your dinosaur, whatever. I forget exactly how they worded it, but they were like saying dinosaur fossil fuel or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, because it goes from here to there. I said, you guys ever take into consideration the fact how much power these things take? And how much more coal needs to be burned to provide this power? Or nuclear rods need to be strung up? I was like, do you guys consider that? And they're like, what? No, solar and wind. And I'm like, no. I was like, solar and wind, that's like 1% of the power grid. I was like, that's not going to do anything. I said, besides, when I'm going somewhere, I like to be able to get there. You know, if I'm running out of gas, I pull over, go to a gas station, and then I leave. I don't have to go sit there for 5 hours and chill.
5, yeah.
Yeah. And so they're like, no, I thought like that. You could do turnarounds and da-da-da. And so I was like, okay. You know, in my head, I'm like, this is pointless. This is a pointless conversation. Hey, James. And so then... This is so funny, and I swear this was God, because you just gotta love how he works. The very next day, this guy comes in with his neighbor's electric vehicle, and he's like talking to the other guy. So it's us three having a conversation again. And he's like, oh, you should see this electric vehicle I got. It's sweet. It's this, blah, 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 blah. And the guy goes, oh, where'd you get that? And he goes, it's my neighbor's. She was taking a trip to Boston, which, just so everybody knows, is like an hour and a half away from here. and she says, and they didn't want to get stuck at the charging station. So they borrowed his gas vehicle to take the road trip. And I was like, dude, the irony here. You know, like, yeah. I was like, dude, I just was telling you guys that, man.
With you.
Yeah, and yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, see, man. I was like, But they still don't get it, man. They still don't get it. And the guy, I'm actually doing some work at his house right now, and
they don't. They absolutely don't.
The guy who got the electric truck, who they started the whole conversation, he was like, "Oh, dude," he's like, "I'll tell you one thing they don't tell you about getting an electric vehicle is, you know, EV anxiety." He goes, "They don't tell you about that." He goes, "I had enough power where I should have been able to go to Boston and back, but there was like detours," he said, "and I would have had like," he said, "I had like an hour left over he should have had. But," he said, "because he was taking detours and didn't know Boston, he ended up driving around lost for like an hour." So
oh no.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So then he had to like find a charging station, and he said, "Instead of getting back at 3, I got back at like 6. I'm like, dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is dumb. And what it is it's, and I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, it's the prison, right? They want to take away cash because cash represents freedom. Well, so does your gas vehicle. Your gas vehicle represents
absolutely.
freedom. Because you can just gas it up and go.
So
You can put tanks of gas in your trunk. You can just go.
So you're going to live in a smart city and think you still have the freedom because you got your electric-only vehicle. That's the only vehicle you can get, but you can only drive for a couple hours within the city.
Yeah.
You never get to leave.
Yeah,
Those are the
man.
ones that let you have some freedom.
Prison,
and
man.
it's crazy because huh? Am I breaking up?
I said it's electric prison.
Oh, it is. Absolutely is. And I a stranger with an electric vehicle and he had a bumper sticker all over the like big bumper. Like I don't mean like a little bumper sticker. The whole bumper said 100% emissions free on the front and the back. And he pulled right up to me, and I was pumping gas, so I didn't even understand why he was pulling. I still, to this day, don't know why he was pulling up. Now that I think about it, I'm pumping gas, and he pulls right up, and I read it, and he can see me reading it, and he came at me like, "It's an electric car," and I'm like, "Where do you think electricity comes from, man? Like, what about cobalt mining and lithium mining?" And you know the coal, like you said, the coal and the gasoline it takes to actually create electricity.
Yeah.
You're creating a carbon footprint. You're not. How are you? And he didn't get it. He was getting more mad that I wouldn't agree.
That's what they do, man. It's because they are in this possession mindset where like.
And we're in a part. So I live in Vermont, and the further you go up the highway that goes north, the further in between towns get, right?
Yeah.
And the solar eclipse, New Jersey, and they came up and went into the North Country where it's like 2 hours and a 4-hour drive, and there's only one place in northern Vermont that has any electric car chargers. So there was a line of people, a quarter of a mile long, waiting for these chargers.
That's
the eclipse
nuts.
long gone. They went to the and they're stuck in the middle of Vermont, fighting over electricity with each other.
What a good idea! Look at me, I got my EV. I was parked in Vermont for 14 days waiting for power. Oh my goodness, man.
But when I was just discussing the Boring Company, which is owned by Mr. Musk. I wanted to point out a couple of these ironic things on the site. So he literally, it's like It's a boring machine. It literally is a huge boring machine that drills a huge hole. I've discussed it a little bit before. But re-looking at this after reading that article, you can see this is one of the tunnels. Right? So they introduced the loop, the Las Vegas loop. Now think about it. Imagine being a guy, hey, I have a boring company that I'm making holes in the ground for my cars to go in. Do you mind if I dig a hole underneath Las Vegas? Sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
This even says zero emissions.
That's how they get people to buy it. I'm saving the earth. It always reminds me of that South Park episode. Remember that was like a long time ago. I don't watch it anymore, but there was that episode where everybody in town got Priuses, and this like cloud of smog started. Not smog, but smug started like developing over the city. Oh man. It's like, yeah, that's totally how it is, man. They get so high and mighty and smug, man.
They literally do, and it's like, so here's this. They call the boring machine, the drilling machine is called Proof Rock, and mega infrastructure projects in a matter of weeks, not years. This thing can dig a tunnel at the speed of 1 mile per week. It's great. And then within a couple weeks, few months, and a year, you can drive in a circle with your car. But what's crazy about this is, here we go. They have a flamethrower on their site.
What?
Yeah. So they're talking about how they're going to be zero emissions, and they can they dig a tunnel faster than anybody, and we got a flamethrower. Like, what? Why?
Yeah, why?
There's the boring company on it, and it's just a flamethrower. Looks like some Nerf gun knockoff.
Though they dig into hell. Right?
There you go. But wait, where's the other one? Let me get into the... I'll have to go back, because there was other things in here that really... Oh, here's another one. Yeah, the flamethrower threw me off. Like, why is that in the boring company? Like, yeah, he's got a great sense of humor. Like, when he dresses up like the Prince of Darkness for Halloween. All right, so then he has burnt hair. I'm like, what is this burnt hair? Oh, it's a perfume.
What?
You see it now, yeah.
What the heck?
It's like red, shaped like a teardrop, but it's more a blood drop.
Yeah.
Right? You got your triangle, your trapezoid, and it's burnt hair from flames.
Wow.
Why? The essence of repugnant desire.
Repugnant. Sold out.
Let the flames begin.
Oh my goodness. Just like leaning over a candle at the dinner table, but without all the hard work.
Isn't that nuts? What does this have to do with anything?
Yeah, this is like some kind of ritual, probably.
Yeah. Yep. Let's figure I'd quickly point that out.
Yeah, that's nutty.
Well, I'll stop presenting.
Yeah, I only got a couple things. I just gotta remember how to work this thing. Alright. Select window. Okay, this is... It should be screen 1, but it's screen 2. Yeah, see, I got it right this time. I'm learning. Alright. Let's see. Now I want to get this web page up. Yeah, this one. Oh, I gotta move this over here. 1 second. Alright, so... Where's that thing that says ignore? Hold on. Alright, ignore. Alright, there we go. Now I gotta get it off of this thing. Alright, I'll get there. Let's see. You're presenting to everyone, blah, 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 blah. So I'm just waiting to see if this changes in. It's because I still see that never-ending mirror. But it should show this screen right here that I'm on and not that. Why is it showing that? You're sharing your entire screen. See,
I don't know.
It's showing it's showing, well, I guess I'll have to do a different choice. Alright, hold on here. Sorry guys. I picked you know what? I'm gonna move that thing back over to the other screen. And I'm just gonna share that screen. Alright. Let's see.
Not laughing at you.
No, I can hear the excitement at your house. Alright, let's try this. Alright. Let me see. There we go. That worked. Close that. Alright. So I think we can do, it shows the sound too. So I got this on my phone and this is pretty crazy, and so I'm just gonna, there's no really sound or anything, but I'm just gonna play it, but it has like little things to read. It's only 45 seconds, so I'm just gonna pause it along the way. So scientists found toxic PFAS, often called forever chemicals, are ubiquitous in the Great Lakes. So they're finding forever chemicals in the Great Lakes. And they're not just in the water. The chemicals have been found in the Great Lake Basin's air, rain, and atmosphere as well. The study found that rainwater is likely the major contributor of the contamination. PFAS are a class of thousands of compounds used to make products resistant to water, heat, and stains. They've been linked to certain cancers and can negatively affect the liver. The Great Lakes hold 95% of the nation's fresh water, providing drinking water for more than 40 million people. Now, what is the first thing you think of when you see this? Because I'll tell you what the first thing I thought of was. Chemtrails, dude.
Yep.
Like, dude, yeah, this is no mystery. Like,
No, it's not.
you know? But they're trying to make
funny.
they're trying to make it seem like it's gotten into the Great Lakes and it's evaporating into the atmosphere and now it's coming down in rain, like it's some kind of chemical leak happening and not what's really happening. So, let's see. I just found that mind-blowing because they're trying to lay the groundwork for something that we all
For something else. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. They're also releasing articles about forever chemicals, how they are measurable in all humans.
Yeah,
Globally.
I wouldn't doubt it, man. They've been trying to pump this stuff into us forever.
Monsanto's or whatever that company is. But yeah, it's funny because I had a conversation the other day. I happened to, it was outside and I looked up and I said to myself, I'm like, wow, that's a big plane. Sometimes they're just a super huge plane that is chemtrailing, contrail. And, you know, and I literally said out loud, I'm like, wow, that's a big one. And the individual looked up and then looked at me and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I was talking to myself. He's like, no, what are you talking about? That plane up there? It's probably spraying stuff, huh? I'm like, that's exactly what it's doing.
Yeah.
He goes, and he rolled his eyes. He's like, what?
So he brought it up and then rolled his eyes.
Yeah, like he was on, I'm like, that's exactly what they're doing. That's a big chemtrail plane. That's tons. And he's like,
has been
probably modifying the weather
over northern Portugal.
That is one of the things that they can do, yes. And then he's like, just like the car in winter, man. That is a hot engine and cold air, just like your car in the winter. I'm like, okay, cool. So I should be able to follow your car in that contrail it leaves wherever you go, right?
Yeah.
He's like, well, that one's disappearing. And I'm like, that's a lot of miles, bud. I'm like, so if you're driving to work and it's 10 below and somebody's jogging, I should be able to follow both of your trails to where you go.
Right.
I'm like, but then I'm like, you realize that there are states that are already starting to do like outlaw chemtrails, or it's called air stratospheric aerosol injection. But either way, yes, you're absolutely right, because these things that are measurable in water, dirt, humans, it's coming from somewhere else where they're saying. And forever chemicals, I'll agree with. You're not going to be able to just detoxify yourself and get rid of them. But
no, but that's why we have Jesus, man.
Absolutely.
Jesus gets rid of that stuff.
Amen.
So this is another thing. So I just wanted to bring this up because this is this meteor. Well, that's what they call it. But I thought this would be an interesting topic because if space is fake, which it is, then what is this? Right? That's just what I want people to just start thinking. Like, space is fake. Everything they've ever told you about space is a lie. So what is this? And I got a little video, but I wanted to read this. It says the meteor was confirmed by the ESA, who caught the fireball on its, whatever this says, Sacaras, Spain at 6:46 Eastern Daylight Time on Saturday, May 18th. That was 40 days from the eclipse. Right, just like Jonah warned, 40 days. I'm just saying, I'm just pointing out these interesting facts. So here's a little video of this thing. Watch how bright this thing is.
In a blaze of bright blue and green light, what appears to be a huge meteor has been filmed streaking over northern Portugal. The incredible sight dazzling those who were lucky enough to witness it. It's unclear whether the meteor hit the Earth's surface.
See that? That's crazy, right? So what is that? Right? Is that a fallen angel? What is that exactly?
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is what I was trying to say when I did the video on the auroras. You know, it's like people are falling for these psyops that have been laid out. And the thing is like, the reason a lot of people are falling for this stuff is because the psyops are made for the truth community, which kind of is where we fall in too. You know, not completely, but where we would be considered that part of that community. And so these psyops were designed for us. So that's why, 2 years ago they were like, oh, HAARP can, it's possible for HAARP to make these fake auroras. So that way when the fallen angels come and create these fake auroras, now the truthers come out and say, oh, it's HAARP. Right? And there goes the truth. Right out the window. And I
Absolutely.
And I sit there and I ponder and I go, how do you say that news is fake? Yet when it says something that you want it to say, it's real. Right? It's either fake or it's not. Right?
That was that was exactly my point with that conversation I was just talking about, because that's exactly the psyop you're talking about. Now, we had an argument, basically, a disagreement on what that was doing up there.
Yeah.
We could see it with our own eyes. It wasn't a news, but it distracted us from agreeing on having a conversation about a higher power.
Yeah.
Or who the king is. Because that's the real evolution of truth when you become a truther. Because you can research every science topic you want, but there's always going to be something like a God particle or something that can't be explained, like entanglement or man-made northern lights, but it's all a distraction to control an awakening or the truth. And the truth is, they don't want you finding God or finding your way to accepting Jesus.
Right.
Or looking at any of this technology as the forbidden knowledge coming from fallen angels. But,
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So, okay. Well, my mom sent me a picture this week after watching the 23 video, so I'll have to switch the share screen to that. So first I'll cover this Time magazine. I did have this thing pulled up about this Iranian president. His thing crashed.
yeah.
So
they haven't found him?
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, I heard some people talking about it today, but I saw this, which I thought was interesting, because they say that the Iranian president's helicopter was an old aircraft. The helicopter that crashed in Iran was Bell 213. Now, remember, Bell and the Dragon, right? That's another name for Baal.
Baal.
Yeah. 23. Right? A twin-engine civilian version of the venerable Huey UH-1 that became ubiquitous during the Vietnam War in the 1960s-70s. The Aviation Safety Network, which maintains a database of accidents for various aircraft, shows the Bell 212 as military equivalents have experienced about 30 accidents since 2017. 8 of them causing fatalities. The Bell 23, I'll call it, in Iran was probably one bought in the 1970s, while the Shah was still in power. Prior to the country's 1979 Islamic Revolution, according to the state-run English language daily in the United Arab Emirates. Now, this part is what got me. U.S. sanctions have made spare parts hard to obtain. According to the same paper, after the Shah was overthrown, Iran continued to use many U.S.-made aircraft, but faced difficulty obtaining spare parts due to American sanctions. So they can have oligarchs and billionaires and what have you and build nuclear weapons, but we can't replace this rotor on the helicopter that we're going to fly a president around in. You know, it's like, come on, dude. This is to get us involved.
It
right?
is, absolutely.
It's to pull America into this conflict. This is what's happening. We're getting dragged into this conflict.
It wasn't a couple years ago that we were almost in a conflict with them because they weren't telling us the truth about their nuclear weapons.
Right.
But you're right. You're right. Now they don't have the parts to fix a helicopter.
It's insanity. And people buy this stuff. They're like, oh, yeah,
They
yeah.
love it.
They're like, oh, man, yeah, it's because America, you know. If it wasn't for America, they could have had parts for their helicopters. It's like, it's so sad because people they cannot see what's right in front of them.
They can't.
And they just
it.
believe
And
all
they'll
this
argue
stuff.
that.
Yeah. So
since
go ahead.
did you have I wanted to. You're sharing, so would you search something?
Yeah,
Here, we got
can I
somebody
just cover
commenting.
this one last thing?
Yeah, go ahead. I didn't realize you had another one.
Well, this is, yeah, and then I gotta show a picture, but then I'll click back onto the website, because I do got faster internet, too. So my mother sent me, a picture, which I'll show you in a minute, but it was of Time's first, and it was just a Google search, like you do on your phone, like you showed McDonald's. It's like that, but it's like, when was Time's first episode or whatever. And so it showed it, right? And its first issue was on March 3rd, 1923, which was 101 years ago, dude. Here you got your 101, the doorway to the Antichrist, your Masonic number, and year of your father, the devil, with your Metonic cycle. Dude, okay, so that's nuts. Now, let me show you the picture real quick, and then I will come back to this window and search whatever you want. I just have to switch the thingamabob to my picture, which is, I guess, right here. Yep, that's it. Okay. So, this, can you guys see that? Oh, yeah. Okay. So this is what showed up. Now, think of 101, the doorway to the Antichrist. The first issue date, March 3rd, 1923, year of your father, the devil. Now, this was not the episode, what the heck would you call that episode? This was not, whatever. This was not the magazine, obviously, in 1923.
No, but it's funny that
they put him on there.
Yeah, why would they?
Right. And look who was on it. Uncle Joe.
Uncle Joe.
Come on.
Make that up.
You can't make this stuff up, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. I was like, what? They straight up got the Antichrist on there. March 3rd, 23, 101. Dude, come on. You can't make this stuff up. You really can't. So now I'll go back to that window and we'll search whatever you want. Let's see. Which one was it? What was it? Boy, I gotta go click on it for a second. Just give me 1 second.
It's all right. I'm just gonna have you search Google.
Yeah, I will. I just gotta make sure I'm on the right. I click on the right thing. Firefox. That's Meet. Live streaming. That's a different one. Boy, I don't. Where is it? All right, I'll just do screen 2 or screen 1. Camera 1, camera 2. Camera 1, camera 2. All right, let's see if this works. All right, here we go. I'm just sharing the whole screen now.
Fair.
All right, so, yep, let's search. Where do you want to look?
So we were discussing the fallen angels. You were showing the green meteor, and so somebody commented, Connie here, absolutely, that is talked about in the movie Stargate. So to go along with that comment, Stargate, type in Stargate computer. Well, that's the movie, right? No, that's it right there. So IBM and OpenAI is putting in $100 billion.
Oh, right here. You want me to click on this?
Sure. And they're building a supercomputer, AGI, and the name of it is called Stargate.
Meet Stargate, the $100 billion AI supercomputer being built by Microsoft and OpenAI. See, we saw that one coming, didn't we? OpenAI and Microsoft.
Yep.
Dude.
And they just announced that too. Yeah, look at that. And they're telling you it'll be as soon as 2028, but they've been working on it.
Yeah, that means next week, probably.
Yep.
That's
Or
how
they're
these
already.
things work.
They just turned it on and then decided to release their plan. But they're again, 1994 has come up a lot in our shows lately, in yours. But yeah, so now ChatGPT and Microsoft, Sam Altman, they're putting in $100 billion to build these computers. There's going to be 100,000 of NVIDIA's top
the graphics
AI
cards, yeah.
Yep, AI chips, those graphic chips. They're the most powerful chips there are, and it's basically going to be your Stargate computer.
That's a very interesting name. Let me read this section of why they call it that. The name Stargate stems from the 1994 sci-fi film of the same name, wherein archaeologists uncover an interstellar teleportation device that transports them to an alien world that had a hand in human civilization. The movie's trailer famously describes it as the key to the past, the door to the future, the passage to discovery, which seems a clear inspiration for OpenAI and Microsoft's supercomputer venture. How interesting it says, key to the past. And to him was giving a key to the bottomless pit, right? And a door, and they opened the bottomless pit, right? And smoke came out of the pit. Yeah, this is this already happened in real life. It's called CERN.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
so
Stargate.
What happened? Yep, it's a huge Stargate. I mean, you think about what you can do with $100,000 building your own computer, or $10,000.
I was like, I don't even know. I don't even think I could spend that much. I'd have to get like a giant screen and like a surround sound. Yeah.
But yeah, look, it even mentions that new movie Dune.
Yeah. Yeah, someone had asked me to do a decode on that. It's like Dune is one of those movies, like I watched the first and second one, but it's like it's pretty obvious what's happening.
It is obvious. There doesn't need to be a.
Yeah, it's that's one of those movies that I don't think needs to be decoded. You know, it's just like it's pretty obvious.
I thought about it, and then I watched enough to see their blue eyes and their blue juice they were drinking. Nothing about the show I did on the horseshoe crabs.
Right. Yeah.
The blue bloods.
Yeah.
Right. Who are the blue bloods? Fallen angels. They're Nephilim people. Nephilim entities.
Yeah. The line of Cain, they had bright blue eyes. Yeah. Pretty crazy, man.
Absolutely.
Snapdragon, you see this? What was it? The guy who invented this? I should pull those pictures out someday and do a little presentation on that and share with you guys. So the guy who invented this is like a program that allows all these different things to talk to each other.
We communicate, right?
Yeah. And so the guy who created it, like I actually did some work in his house painting and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he lives like, I don't know, half an hour from here. He's got this huge house with like this demonic tower, bro. Like,
is that the one that has the statues up the driveway?
Yeah, with like all the Harry Potter stuff. Yeah, with the big statues and yeah. So and then there's this big tower, which is an octagon, and which is 3 floors, right? 888, right? So on each floor, there's this piece of granite in the center with initials in it, right? And it goes out, and then from each of the sides, it goes out to the side of the building. And then you go to all these floors, and I'm like, what the heck? So I dropped
everywhere.
Yeah. So I dropped my pen, and the way the stairwell works, it just went all the way down into the sub level. So I was like, oh man, I gotta get my pen, you know. So I went down, and when I got down to the sub level, dude, there was one of those octagons, but not in the middle. It was at the bottom of the staircase, and it said 11, 11, 11. 33, bro.
Yep.
Did you guys know that that's what KKK is?
Yep.
11, 11, 11.
11.
Yeah. Pretty crazy, man. Did you want me to look up anything else? Are you good?
No, that was good. I was just trying to,
What's up in the comments section?
interact with comments.
I haven't seen the comments.
Oh, they were talking about
Let's
carbon fibers and nanofibers and nanotech, which I agree with. But then they mentioned Stargate. That stuck out to me because of the Stargate computer.
Oh, yeah. Connie says that she saw on the YouTube channel that there were 23 tornadoes in this guy's video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe it. We're going to be seeing a lot of that.
Did you hear about... There was one article I just saw right before we got on. Come on, slow computer. There was another shooting in Pennsylvania.
No.
The headline is 2 killed, 3 hurt in mass shooting in Pennsylvania.
2 what?
2 killed and 3 hurt.
I gotta stop sharing my screen.
23.
Oh, 2. Okay, I got you. 2 killed and 3 hurt. I'm sorry, I was like multitasking and it wasn't registering.
No.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. It's everywhere.
All right.
It's everywhere.
It is everywhere, and you can find, go back in history news, and there's a lot of shootings that have 2 dead, 3 hurt, 3 dead, 2 hurt. You'd be surprised, or not surprised. But
wow, I missed a lot of comments, bro. Holy cannoli! Wait, you mean my gray hair is a carbon fiber? I'm like, no. Holy cow! I gotta go shave my head. I gotta go shave my head real quick. Oh yeah, your beard's gray, man.
Oh yeah.
My beard's not gray. My hair is gray, but not my beard. Which is weird to me. I don't know. But I don't grow either one of them, so that's fine with me. Let's see. They pull out the movie, watch closely. I'm just skimming through these comments. Big part, yeah, transhumanism. Yeah.
I agree with that one too.
Geo-weather engineering. Yeah, absolutely, James. Totally believe that. Honey, bug. Yeah, your hair does move on its own frequencies. Nanotech, graphene, etc. So there's this show on, I think Paramount makes it. It's called Outer Range.
I've heard of it.
Right? It's got this hole that people jump into and time travel. But in this hole is this mineral. Right? And it's a hole, but it's like this mineral floats like on top of the hole. Like it's a bottomless pit is what it is. And it brings you to, it's a time traveling thing. So, but on top of this hole, there's like this black, right? the dark crystal, right? Graphene, or I guess we'd call it graphite, right? Because it's crystallized form. And so it's people collect it, put it in a bag, hey, and then they'll wipe it on their lips or put it in their mouth, and it will absorb into their skin, and then their eyes go black, and they start having this vision, bro. I'm like, what? I was like, man, they're giving away the cake here. Like, dude, this is everything we've been talking about for years, you know?
Yeah. And you can't spell it anymore.
No, it's like they're showing you, man. They're putting it right in your face, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this black goo, man, it's everywhere nowadays.
It is everywhere. Yeah. We've talked
yeah.
about that quite a few times. I think I showed a good amount of slides showing all kinds of United States monuments and Washington D.C. monuments that is just oozing the black goo.
Yeah, you know what?
Headstone.
I didn't realize this till like probably, I don't know, 6 months ago, but in the Matrix,
the black goo.
Remember Smith? In part 2, he like became this virus, and he would put his hand into people, and they would like turn into this black goo, bro, and become him. Like, he was making copies of himself. I'm like, oh my goodness. Dude. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. It is. It's, you know, like, you'd think it would just be sci-fi, fantasy, but when you start seeing all these connections, it's irrefutable. You can't deny it, you know?
Right.
It's like, Terminator. I know he was a little more silver than black, but he was doing the same thing in Terminator.
Oh, then part 2, yeah.
Yeah. Same type of deal.
Yeah, you know, I heard this interesting theory that oil is what they drink in the Middle Earth, like the demonic entities. That's their water. Right? And that would make sense, right? Because if there's veins of graphite, which we mine to make graphene, it would make sense that the entities that made this had black blood, right?
Black blood, absolutely.
It would make sense. Like,
it would totally make sense. And then if that is kind of like their lifeblood, their hydration, and we're putting it in our vehicles, that's why we're so easily become car man and affected.
Right.
When we're extending our senses by the vehicle, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy, right?
It is crazy.
Yeah.
But, all right.
It's
On
their
that note,
law. They have to tell us. Let me just I just want to say one thing to Connie real quick.
Yep.
So, if you look up Revelation 20, Connie, you will see that Satan is bound and he can deceive the nations no more. Okay, so Satan has to tell us what he's going to do. Just because Revelation 20 is at the end of the book doesn't mean it hasn't happened. It's from the cross until Satan's loose, which we're approaching right now. But anyways,
right.
He's bound, and so he has to tell us. So he uses books, movies. You know, I talk about this a lot. Magazines, comics, cartoons, anything, any media, the news, newspapers, stories, anything. And so he'll disclose what he's going to do because he has to. He's not allowed to deceive us. So he hides it in fictional things that will fictionalize, but he's actually warning us what he's going to do.
He is warning us. And it's crazy because he's bound to doing that, but he also has a sick pleasure out of doing it. because the people who manja eat up the lie of it, the sci-fi of it.
Yeah.
But it's an enjoyment at the same time as he's bound to do that. He has to tell us.
Yeah.
And that's where, if we perish because of it, it's because of our lack of knowledge.
Right. Yeah, because when we're... Just think, like, belief is power, fear is power, they're forms of worship. So when you fear things, you give them strength. When you love things, like, okay, here's for instance. So when you saw The Matrix 2, and you're like, oh, I love that movie. Okay, so right there, you're like, it's cool, possess me.
Right.
That's
Absolutely.
the message that's being sent to the spiritual realm. Like, okay,
Absolutely.
I showed him this warning. He's okay with it, so now I can do it to him, and it's fine, because he said, I love it. You know? That's how it works, man. It's crazy.
It is absolutely how it works.
That's why we need Jesus, man. Yeah.
Amen. Amen to that. And who is they? They are the Nephilim entities. They are the fallen angel entities. They are the entities of the underworld.
Yep. The controllers of this realm, right? We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, spiritual wickedness in high places. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's who they are. For sure. And they owe Melinda billions of doll hairs. So hopefully they're not the carbon doll hairs, because you don't want those ones. They'll be like moving on their own and freaking you out.
Well, thank you everybody
James.
for
Appreciate it.
participating.
What's that, buddy? Sorry, I was just thinking, James.
I was just saying thank you to everybody who had shown up and participated and commented. We all really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's nice interactive in the comment section today. It's cool.
So good to see you, James. Always good to see you. And God bless everybody else.
Yeah,
Till
James
next
has
time.
been with us since the beginning.
He has.
Yeah. Yeah. He's always tuning into our show. So we'll say
We
happy
adopted him.
anniversary to you too, James, because you've been watching the show for 2 years. This is James. I don't know if you were here at the beginning, but this is Franz's. Me and Franz's 2-year anniversary today. Like to the day, May 22nd of 2 years ago, we uploaded the first show with us, and yeah, it's been 2 years. We love you too, James. We have much love for all you guys in the comment section. We appreciate all your support. And we really appreciate
Absolutely.
you tuning
Anybody-
into the new show and giving it some love.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've been saying this whole time that, for all the evil entities and evil powers in the world controlling you, I'm just grateful to be here. God, glory to God, just to be here to put some of that back in, sending the vibe back out there.
Yeah,
So
amen.
wearing the breastplate. But all right. So thank you everybody. Greatly appreciate it. Take the time to listen and stay here and comment. Love it. So till next time, everybody stay vigilant and God bless.
God bless, brother. Thanks for coming. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of This Just In, the new show where we cover current events and whatever comes to our minds. Appreciate you guys all tuning in and giving support for what we're doing here and showing Franz some love. I know he definitely appreciates it, and so do I. And I'm glad you guys are tuning in for this new show. Thank you for making the comment section blow up, and appreciate all you guys. This has been a great show, and we'll be back with this show in 2 weeks. And Franz is got a show next Wednesday on Lifting the Veil, where he'll do his presentation. And I'll see you guys Saturday night on the live Bible study, for those of you who tune into that, where we will be continuing in the book of Revelation. So, till the next show, you guys, take care. God bless. Be safe out there. Stay prayed up. Put your armor on, because it's go time for spiritual warfare. We're God's army, so get ready to do some battling. God bless you all. Good night.